Hello. Okay, thanks. I'm very excited today to have this opportunity to join this webinar together with our partners. I see that we already have more than dozens of the partners joining the webinar. Welcome. The topic today, we want to talk about the opportunities which we see in the evolution of our legacy critical communication communication industries. We all, in the past decade, most of our partners have together with Hytera, we have been very successful path in the past decade on the legacy solution marketing explore like the Tetra or DMR or analog solutions. But now in the past 5 or 10 years, actually it's more and more clear. We see the evolution trend is quite clear that broadband is the future of the professional mobile communication industries. And therefore, from Hytera, we also introduced our solutions, particularly designed for the public safety, for the business critical or mission critical industries. So today we want to talk about the solution, which we call it as HyTalk mission critical. It's based on the open framework introduced by 3GPP. And this is the solution which have been gradually deployed or used by the most of the countries in Europe and in North America. So we will review them for more details. And I believe that together with Hytera's solution, we can also start explore or study on this direction to see in your local market how we can promote, how we can dig on these directions. Okay, so this is just for the beginning. Let's go through the presentation, and I would like to share our vision about the industry trend and our solutions, including the reasons why, from our position, we see that Hytera's solution is much better than the competitors, or we have very strong competitive points on the market compared with the other solutions. So the webinar will be divided into the 4 parts. First, we wanted to review the industry challenges and the evolution trend. And the second part is we wanted to highlight that how MCS applications can be deployed over the different verticals, not only the public safety sectors, which we have just talked. And the third point, we wanted to have a high level introduction about the Hytera solution. So its component, its unique point, which we believe that we can distinguish our solution from the other competitors' solution. And the fourth part is the business model we wanted to share with our partners to see that for a typical MCS project, how we can explore and how we can embrace telecom operators to open the market and to find a triple win solution. Okay, so first, let's talk about the industry trend. So about this topic, I believe that it's quite clear. Everyone now in industry understands more or less that the legacy solution, the legacy professional mobile radio marketing is evolving, not so quick, but more or less they are evolving to broadband gradually. And the digital trunking solutions, which was massively deployed in the past decade, has been used by most of the industry users in the past 10, 20 years. But now, as the society, as the technology is moving fast, and we see more and more broadband requirements, like the video communications, like the applications, industry applications, utilizations for the business operations. So more and more broadband requirements are appearing in industry, which cannot resolve which cannot be resolved by the narrowband solution, regardless Tetra or DMR or P25. So this is the point. I believe we don't have to spend much time on this. Everyone sees this trend, and there are a lot of discussions already as well to see that how the industry should embrace these challenges and embrace this evolution. Okay, looks like we have a small technical issues about the presentation showing on the screen. So we just resolve it, and let's continue. Let's continue to talk about the evolution for the PMR industry. As we just talked that the legacy digital trunking solutions has been widely deployed in the past decade, and they did their real well, have provided very good voice services to the public sectors. But as the broadband service requirement appears in industry, it's clear that the LTE solution is the future of the PMR industries. So this is the common sense for industry, and based on the characteristics of the LTE technology, that first of all, it's very mature technologies, and second of all, LTE can provide the critical data and video services which PMR industry need. So the trend is quite clear, but when we talk about the realizations, when we talk about the implementation, that how to bring LTE technologies to the real business operations, actually there are quite a list of the challenges. We understand that for the legacy PMR solutions, normally for the public sector customers, they build their own digital radio networks, and they can apply a very dedicated radio frequencies, and the site coverage is quite big for the digital trunking solutions, and therefore for one particular coverage region, the narrowband solution, they don't require a lot of sites. So with very limited site quantities, they can provide a wide coverage network, and this network is affordable for most of the public safety sectors. And the network can be easily deployed, can be easily maintained by the end users. But when it comes to the LTE solutions, there are a list of the challenges. First of all is the frequency. We all understand that LTE frequency is quite expensive, and for LTE, it requires much wider bandwidth frequencies than narrowband. And it's actually, practically speaking, frankly speaking, it's not applicable in most countries for public sectors to apply a qualified, useful bandwidth, LTE bandwidth. We are talking about 5 megahertz or 10 megahertz or even 20 megahertz bandwidth dedicated for the public sector. So this is big challenges. From global point of view, we see the research that which makes quite sense, that the LTE frequency should be used on the country level, should be used for the benefits of the most population of the country. We should maximize to utilize its economic effect. It means that the LTE frequency is better for the telecom operators, for the public services, which can be economically maximally utilize its economic benefits. So this is the point where we see why in most countries actually they are quite hesitate to define particular LTE frequencies for the public sectors, because after all, it's not a profitable network we are talking about. And this is one of the most reasons actually why most public sectors, they have no opportunities to build their own LTE networks, and not mention that the LTE site coverage compared with the legacy solution is very limited. For we all understand that for typical Tetra or DMR networks, the site coverage, the radius of the site coverage can come to 2 to 5 kilometers. But when we're talking about LTE site coverage, it's we are talking about hundreds of meters or less than 2 kilometers. So for the same city area coverage, LTE site quantity will be much higher than the narrowband site quantity. So this is also a realistic challenge that for the public sector customers they have to face. And not mention that the LTE network maintenance is much more complicated than the narrowband networks, and the deployment cost, like the site acquisition, the network construction cost is much higher than the digital trunking networks. So this is the reason why we see, even for despite that the topic in industry has been discussed in most countries in the past 10 years, but right now up to now we don't see a lot of reference, commercially used reference that public sectors is benefiting from their dedicated LTE networks. And this is the background. So now we have, then the challenge is quite clear that for the legacy public sector users, that how they can migrate their narrowband, how they can migrate their voice-only traffic to LTE technologies. So this is the requirement is still there. And on the other hand, we are talking about telecom operators. So this is the role we have not touched in the past years when we're talking about the providing service to the public sector, as we just explained, because they are using their own network. But now, when we're talking about when the era come to LTE era and public telecom operators, their role can play a quite important role, because they do have a countrywide LTE coverage. In most of the countries, the LTE signals, LTE coverage on the countrywide is available already. And for public telecom operators, they are eager to explore this legacy industry marketing, and they are eager to penetrate, to improve their new business users towarding these legacy PMR industry customers. So this is the opportunities we see, that it's a nature cooperation trend, that the traffic migration from the for the public sectors network from their private narrowband network to be migrated smoothly to public LTE networks. So this is the trend which we see happening in most of the European countries, even for North America, in European countries like UK, like in France. Later on, we will talk about the reference which we see. So this is the nature cooperation trend. And the only left problem is how to realize this migration. And this is the background why 3GPP introduced this so-called MCS solution since 2015. They see this requirement, they see this trend, and they do want to provide open framework solutions based on public LTE networks to provide qualified, secured, accessible, and affordable solutions for most of the public sectors. So this is the reason why 3GPP, 3GPP is a open, is a communication community or community standard community to define the LTE technologies in the past 10 years, and they are also working on the 5G standardizations in the past years. So they have started to think about the introduction of this open framework with these four targets. First of all, the solutions to be deployed over public LTE networks should be able to provide a very qualified, very accessible, very good voice, not only voice, but also data and video services. And the framework, the deployment, the solutions should be an open and standardized framework to provide to avoid the winter-lock situation, to ensure that the public sector customers, they can benefit from the open competitive ecosystem. And also the solution designed by the 3GPP should be able to provide the guaranteed service qualities. We all understand that, especially for the public safety customers, QoS, service quality, and service priority is most important. We don't want to have the situation that when the customers, especially for public safety customers, when they need to connect, when they need to make the call or the network, the call is not available because the traffic is jammed, because the too many users is applying the call. So this is the situation. Since the born of the MCS framework, they have been listed as the target to resolve. And the last point is to ensure that the solution is affordable and controllable by most of the public safety public sectors. Based on this solution for the public safety for the public sectors, they don't have to deploy or build a dedicated network infrastructure anymore. So they just focus on the application deployment. So with these four targets, is this framework and this architecture, this framework MCS is welcomed by most of the country's public safety sectors, and it has been widely used by America, by European countries, and also in in the Asian, some of the Asian countries, they are also starting the introduction of these solutions. So this is the as we talked, this is the future of the business critical and mission critical communication solutions, and this is the reasons why MCS is being so hot in the past 5 years in industry, and this is the reason why today we are having this webinar, and we want to share our release of our MCS solutions, so that together with our partners we can continue work and we can explore on these directions. Since this page, we wanted to review the other countries in America and in other countries about their progress of the introduction for their public safety sectors, how they are embracing these new communication solutions, and how they are cooperating with the telecom operators. So from this, we must understand that for the MCS business promotion, telecom operators is one rule we cannot avoid, we cannot skip. We need to find our channels, we need to find our paths to build the connection with telecom operators, and then work together as partners to provide these prioritized and provide these mission critical communication solutions to the public sector customers. Like the story happening in America. FirstNet is America's public safety network associations. So they are designed, they are targeted to set up countrywide communication networks and providing their communication services to most of the public sectors in America. And their cooperation with American telecom operators, AT&T. And for FirstNet, they have opened a tender in 2017, and AT&T wins tender. Let's review their benefits. I mean, from ATT point, what the benefits from the cooperation, and then from FirstNet point of view, what their benefits through the cooperation with AT&T. So AT&T get very valuable 20 megahertz LT frequencies at a low band 700 megahertz for public safety and commercial use. It means that AT&T can use these 20 megahertz LT frequencies to providing commercial services to their commercial users, as long as they can ensure that the public safety customers have the top access priority. It means that the FirstNet customers, they have the top access priority of the utilization of these networks. So when the public safety customers is not using the network, AT&T is free to go. It's free to use these frequencies to providing the commercial services to their commercial users. This means a lot. So this is the most benefit values AT&T gained from the cooperation. Also, of course, they also received the $6.5 billion from FirstNet for the network construction. So they are constructing this countrywide network not free of charge with the financing support from FirstNet. And from FirstNet point of view, it's a win-win cooperation. From FirstNet, they have they spend a little money. They spend not a much less money compared with the dedicated self-constructed LTE networks, and they received a countrywide LTE coverage for their public safety, for their first responders. FirstNet had made the calculations that in case they are not cooperating with their AT&T and they are building the LTE infrastructure by themselves, like they did in the digital trunking solutions, they will, for the 10 years, they will spend over 47 billion USD dollars. But through the cooperation with the AT&T, through the cooperation framework, they have set up the framework for 25 years, and they only need to spend 7 million USD dollars. So this is a very clear result that this is a win-win cooperation. And this is a world-leading reference. And in Europe, in most of the countries, they are learning from these references. And I believe that this is also the story we should tell our local public sector customers, that this is the way how our professional communication solutions should evolve in the next years, in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years. And this is the reason why we should find our telecom operator as our strategic partner for the local broadband marketing expo. The second story we wanted to share here is in China, China Mobile. China Mobile is the world's biggest mobile operators, and they are also embracing these broadband push-to-talk solutions and providing them to the verticals, to the industry verticals. China Mobile started introduction of their push-to-talk solutions over their LTE network since 2018, and they have designed the whole ecosystem since the day of the introduction of the solution. And as you can see that the ecosystem is quite big. They are not only providing the push-to-talk communication solutions, they are also providing the industrial applications through the cooperation with their ecosystem partners. China Mobile is providing their whole industrial solutions, including the communication solutions to the industries. And this is the reason why they have developed so quick. Even only through the 1 year's development in last year, 2019, they have built the cooperation with over 35,000 enterprise customers, providing the service to more than 1 billion industrial users. And since this year, they are growing with the speed each month over 100,000 new industry users. And we are talking about the vertical industry users. The push-to-talk service China Mobile is providing is not only providing the normal, normal without prioritized access. They are also providing mission critical service (MCS) with prioritized access to the industry users. For this part of the users, their up value, this up value means the average revenue for each user which operator can receive. So their up value is 4 times higher compared with the normal classic users. So this is the situation which China Mobile is promoting, and we see a very exciting figures that for the prioritized access users, we are talking about the mission critical prioritized access users. China Mobile can receive much higher up values. So this is the very big news, this is a very exciting story which we can share to our local telecom operators to tell them that this is the chance that for most of the telecom operators, they should provide this prioritized, differentialized the mission critical communication services to the industrial, to the public sector customers. And the third case we wanted to share is our Hytera experience in Sri Lanka, the South Asia country, through the cooperation with the local telecom operators Dialog. The story happened last year. We built the agreement, cooperation with Dialog, and Dialog providing the mission critical services follow the 3GPP standard to the local public safety customers and the railway customers. So the project goes well. So far, we have penetrated and promoted almost 10,000 subscribers, and I do believe that the sectors which we are going to explore in this year after this coronavirus issues passed, will expand very quickly. The service which we provided during the last year has been highly appreciated by the end customers. So it's proved that the mission critical services can really providing very exciting services to the public sectors, and finally to migrate to replace their on-hand existing narrowband solutions. And this is the footprint which we see so far global, that in the countries where we see MCS or public LTE networks has been utilized, has been used. So quite a list of the countries already. Let's quickly review them, and I do believe that we, as our partners, as our in the local market, we should start thinking about the penetration, the connections with the local telecom operators. So this is the future. After all, we are talking about the future of the technologies. Besides, in America, besides the AT&T's cooperation with FirstNet, other telecom operators like Verizon or Sprint, actually they are also providing mission critical services since the second half of last year. So it's a competitive marketing, and if we are not going there, then the other MCS solution providers, they will go to discuss with telecom operators. And for each country, there are not a lot of telecom operators. So top 3, top 5 telecom operators is no doubt that they are our top. They should be on our top concentration list. And not only America, in UK, ESN cooperation with the mobile telecom operators E&E to migrate their public sectors from Tetra Airwave to the LTE-MCS. This project has been started since 2015, and the progress may be not so quick as they did as the case in America, but actually it's also a very flagship reference, which also the other countries they are watching. In France, their MOI cooperated with the Orange operators, and they set up an RF project to migrate public sectors from their Tetra solutions to the MCS as well since 2018. So this project, according to their milestone, France plans to finish the migration in the next 3 years. And so they already have a very dedicated, very concrete plan. In Netherlands, MNO KPN has started the introduction of the MCS in the second half of the 2019 as well. So this is the project initialized by telecom operators. The case we just reviewed in America, in France, in England, in UK. So they are driven by public sector customers, but in Netherlands, the case is driven by operators as well, because for telecom operators, they do see these marketing opportunities, and they do want to explore this marketing, which previously was seized by the digital trunking solutions. In Czech, the MOI started building a dedicated LTE network since last year, and also they are targeting to introduce the MCS solution since the second half of this year. So this is also the case where we are watching. We believe that this is also can be a very good reference. And in Finland, they have decided to migrate their digital trunking solutions to the MCS solutions in last year. The planning of the tender, the planned tender for the MCS election is supposed to happen in this second half of this year. And in Russia, the mobile operators Megaphone, they have it's also initialized by themselves. They see the opportunities in the industry verticals, and they start introduction of MCS since last year. We have in Russia, it has been confirmed that they will cooperate with Hytera to provide our mission critical services to the local public sector. In Korea, the case is also well known. Korea MOI built a countrywide dedicated LTE networks through the cooperation with the two local telecom operators. And they have started introduction of the mission critical services to their public sector since the second half of the last year. And in Australia, Telstra operator introduced the MCS services to the local public sectors. In Kazakhstan, the local Beeline operators is planning to introduce MCS in this year. They have released the tender. In Sri Lanka, this is the case we just reviewed, that they are cooperating with us to provide MCS services. In India as well, the biggest local telecom operator, BSNL, is providing the MCS services. It's going to provide the MCS service in this year. So you see, most of these countries, most of these references, they are happening in the last 1 or 2 years. So we are talking about a very new solutions. We are talking about a very new technology, and it's the beginning stage of the whole broadband era for the public sector. And this is we do believe that in the next 1, 2, 3 years, the trend will be more mainstream, and more telecom operators, they will step into the market and they will start the deployment. So we need move fast. We need to find our links to the operators, talk about the strategical cooperation framework. And the application. So this is the second chapter we want to share, is that where mission critical applications, when as our partners, when we go to telecom operators, right? When we talk about the cooperation telecom with operators, we need help them. We can help them to find the targeting market, and to where that they should explore, and where the business opportunities exist. The first and the most important, no doubt, that is the public safety sector. This is the sector which has been dominated by the digital trunking solutions. But as we just reviewed, right? So for the migration of their digital trunking solutions to the broadband solutions, this is the case where we should dig, and telecom operators, they should dig. And MCS services can really bring significant benefits for the public safety sector's daily operations, not only to replacing their daily voice communications, but through the applications, through the video, and through the visualized dispatch to provide the situational awareness and the location-based tracing, and the video communications, real-time live streaming. So all these issues can be benefits through the MCS services. This is a demand by most of the public safety sectors nowadays. And the second sector is the energy industries, like the oil and gas industries. So from the generation of the resources, from the production, and the pipeline transmission, and the terminal distribution. So this is the whole through the whole industrial chain. This marketing also be dominated by the digital trunking solutions in the past decade. But this is also the case where we should start introduction of the broadband solutions. We have seen a lot of opportunities in our overseas marketing for the oil and energy customers. They have this quite strong requirement about the broadband LTE networks. So this is the opportunity for telecom operators, that they help this kind of oil and gas customers build their own LTE networks, and on top of the LTE network, providing not only the mission critical services, can also be integrated with the other data applications, even including the IoT, right, Internet of Things networks, and to really help this industry realize these digital transformations, and help them to finish to improve and to evolve their whole digital process. Power grid, this is also another very important public sector in most of the countries, and the cooperation with telecom operators for power grid it's also more often to see on the news in recent days, in the recent 2 years. And we do this similar with the oil and gas industry that they have been dominated by the digital trunking solution in the past decade. But their digital transformation, their situational awareness from the centralized switch dispatching room, from the regional distribution rooms is also very strong, and the legacy voice communication solutions is not powerful enough anymore to provide their necessary service requirement, especially for the field operations. And therefore, this kind of the video streaming functions, the video for the video communications for the remote diagnosis is more and more strong requirement we see in China and in the other European countries as well. So this is the part also can be for the telecom operators. They can start digging, and we can work together with them to dig the marketing, especially for the marketing where we don't have strong rules for even in their legacy network solutions. So we would encourage our partners that together with the operators to move our concentrations to this direction. And for the mining industries, it's even more critical than the other industries. For the mining industries, their digital transformations, their digitalizations is a very strong requirement in the past 5 years. Previously, they have built their network or broadband network or Wi-Fi solutions for most of the mining industries, but Wi-Fi has its very serious disadvantage, especially for the production process, for the automation, and for the digitalizations, for their very time delay sensitive applications. Wi-Fi is not qualified, and this is the driven why for most for especially for the big advanced open pit mining industries, they are embracing LTE solutions gradually more and more popular in the past 2 or 3 years. And with the introduction of LTE network, MCS is inevitable solutions, considering that they already have a LTE network. So there's no reason for the open pit mining industry to continue to remain their legacy digital trunking solutions. So the MCS solution can provide not only the video communications, as we just talked, it's also to lift their automations and the digital transformations. So through these video communication capabilities and through the digital transformation supportiveness or LTE network, this is also a strong opportunity, strong marketing where we cannot avoid. We should go deeper to dig the local market as well. Transportation, railway transportation is also a sector which we should move on. We should focus on the MCS applications. For in more and more countries in the past 5 years, more and more countries they are start introduction of the LTE for the railways, like in Korea, in India, in France, and our Hytera's own cases in Sri Lanka. We are providing the mission critical services to the railway customers to replace their obsolete like Tetra or GSMR communication solutions. And not only, for the introduction of the LTE for railway industries, not only that they have a requirement, not only driven by the requirement of the multimedia dispatch, it's also driven by the train control signals systems upgrade. Now for the railway control signals, especially when we're talking about the high-speed railway with the higher level of the ETCS signal control systems, broadband network is a must. It's a mandatory requirement for the railways upgrading, and therefore for the mission critical, for the multimedia dispatching, and for the signaling upgrade, LT network is also the only choice for the next generation's railway communication systems. And from Hytera, as our partners, we want to highlight here that from Hytera, we have very strong competitive rules on this local market. We are providing not only the mission critical platforms to the to the railway dispatch solutions, we are also be able to providing the whole end-to-end package to the railway customers. It means that we are not we can also providing very competitive, very advanced broadband, twin-bone terminals, and the station dispatching systems in different levels of the railway stations. Airport is also one field that we believe for telecom operators, they should put their resources to promote, to introduce these solutions to the customers. Because in most of the airports, there are very good LT coverage. Telecom operators is already providing a very deep, very comprehensive LT coverage, and through the introduction of the MCS services, so they can provide these business critical services to the airport operations, regardless its security, inspections, or security patrol, or the airport grounding services like the cleaning, filling, for this field operation scenarios, which was previously utilized by the digital trunking solutions. And we see that in China, we have find several cases where the airport has been start introduction of this mission critical business critical services to providing broadband services to their internal operations. And so this is so far this is the case we want to share, that where we see the opportunities and where we should dig together with the telecom operators. And so far the trend part is finished. I wanted to summarize again that as we just reviewed, this is the future mission critical solution. MCS, mission critical service, is the future of the PMR solutions for most of the public sectors, especially for the public safety customers. And if we are not seize these opportunities and grab these opportunities for the local market, then we will have very we will be very not quite a serious problem for our future marketing development, because as we see that most of the public safety customers they know about it, and pretty sure that they have kind of discussion already about the introduction. This is so this is the way we cannot. So this is the marketing that we cannot skip. We have to put our focus on, and to ensure that once the window is open, once the marketing is requirement is appearing, we are the first responders. We are the first solution providers on the market. Okay, so it has been almost 50 minutes. Let's have a 5 minutes break, and after we are back, we will review particularly about our Hytera solution. So what significant, what unique point through Hytera's MCS solution we can bring to end users, and why telecom operators should cooperate with Hytera, cooperate with us for the local marketing promotion. Okay, so let's have 5 minutes break, and we will come back and after 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, we are back. Let's continue the discussion about the introduction about our Hytera MCS solutions. Now, as we just talked that the trend is clear, and here, since this chapter, we want to share the unique point, the advantage of Hytera MCS solutions. So we can understand that what's our competitive point. You know, when we're talking about the when we have to compare with the other MCS solution providers on the market. First of all, this is the diagram. This is the solution overview. As you can see that we are providing end-to-end solutions. So this is the first point which can distinguish our Hytera's MCS solutions out of the other pure MCS platform providers. We are providing not only the platforms, we are also providing the terminals. We are also providing dispatching, recording solutions, you know, on top of the MCS servers. So anyway, we can see that the typical MCS solution is deployed over mobile network operator public LTE networks. And on top of MCS systems, we introduced the very strong recording and dispatching platforms to providing this necessary, you know, mandatory dispatching functions to the public sector customers. And this is on the application layer. On the application layer and through the gateway, we provide the interconnections with the public networks like the public PLMA or PST networks. And also MCS itself, we can provide the interconnections with the legacy PMR networks like Hytera's Tetra or DMR networks. And not mentioning that through the dispatching function, through the dispatching platform, we are also able to provide the interconnections with other on3GPP networks. So this is the point where also can distinguish our Hytera MCS solutions, you know, out of the other competitor solutions. And the second point, under that network, when we're talking about the terminals, we can see that we are able to provide in different types of the mission critical service terminals, LTE terminals, to meeting different types of business scenarios, like the trunking terminal, right? Pure LTE terminal, ruggedized pure LTE terminal, and the multi-mode LTE and PMR, you know, narrowband hybrid terminals. This is the terminals which can be used for the customers who are using their legacy, who already have digital trunking networks. So their traffic migration cannot be done in one night, and there is a smooth process. There is a migration process, and during this smooth migration process, this multi-mode hybrid terminals is essential terminals for their utilization to benefit from both MCS applications, and their legacy digital trunking solutions. And the LTE body-worn cameras is also essential. Nowadays, it's an essential terminals for the police officers' duty operations. And we introduce these mission MCS applications inside these body-worn cameras so that the police officers, they don't need to wear two terminals, and through this one camera, they can realize the not only the scene recording functions, but also the push-talk communication solutions which they have, which was previously provided by the digital by their digital trunking radios, and also the vehicle terminals for the vehicle type terminals, vehicle stations for the utilizations in the car for the police officers. So these different types of the radios is also a full terminals is also a very strong point that why for the end users, for the telecom operators, they should cooperate with Hytera instead of the other pure software platform providers. We, in this case, we can skip the very complicated, very time-consuming process about the software applications adaptations, and you know, different vendors adaptation sometimes can spend quite a lot of time. And the second point we wanted to highlight here is our very powerful. Sorry, not. This is the page. This is the page we wanted to review about functions and features. So our Hytera's mission critical services is is built on top of the 3GPP's open standard, and we are compliant with the latest 3GPP framework release 15. For release 15, on the from the mission critical service perspective, there's not a lot of changes, but still we are remaining our compliance on their evolution. And on top of the standard, we also introduced our very competitive dispatching platform. And this dispatching platform is the part which is out of the 3GPP framework. It's up to solution providers definitions to define that what kind of the dispatching services we can provide to the end users. And we, based on the rich experience in the past decade to providing the dispatching services to the industrial users, we have migrated our very powerful unified dispatching platform to integrate with our open framework mission critical service platforms, and therefore we are able to provide this very powerful dispatching platform inside our MCS solutions as well. Now, this page is the highlight of our commanding and dispatching platform. So through the integration with our MCS platforms, we are able to benefit from these powerful dispatching solutions. The platform, it can provide the interconnection not only with the MCS platform, it can also provide the connection with the other un-3GPP networks or public networks, or even the CCTV or video conference networks. And therefore, through this unified dispatching platform for the customers, they can combine their dispatching platform in case that they already have a legacy dispatching platforms. Therefore, then they can combine this dispatching platform for both broadband MCS applications and the narrowband digital trunking solutions. And the functions and the features through the dispatching platform, we can provide a bunch of very powerful list, a comprehensive list of the functions like the visualized dispatching, like the multimedia recording and dispatching functions, and like the G-space location tracing functions, and like the remote controlling of the terminal. List of the functions which have been widely approved by our industry customers in the past years. And the interconnection function is the point we cannot skip, especially when we're talking about the service introduction for the industrial customers who already have their own legacy digital trunking solution. And we provide through our MCS solution, we provide the interconnection with their legacy PMR networks on the different layers. On the terminal layer, we can provide this multi-mode, hybrid multi-mode terminals. So one side, we can use the LTE access to for the utilization of the MCS applications. On the other hand, the narrowband side, we can also use the terminal to access their legacy solution networks. And in this case, the field responders, they only need carry one terminals, but they can benefit both networks at the same time. On the MCS layer, our Hytera's MCS platform can provide the interconnections with the PMR, Hytera's DMR or Tetra networks, for example, to provide the gateway level interconnections on the MCS level. And the third level is on the dispatch level. We can provide the interconnections with dozens of the other different types of the networks, regardless it's 3GPP networks or other digital trunking networks, or even other CCTV and video conference networks, as we just reviewed in the previous pages. So these powerful interconnections through the MCS platform and the dispatch platform can provide all the necessary integration requirements by most of the industrial users. And this page, we want to highlight the security and encryption point. For the public safety customers, sometimes they require very unique, very deep security features. For even they have their particular concerns or perspective about the security realizations for their communication solutions. And this is the solution which features which we have introduced on top of 3GPP with open framework to ensure that our MCS solutions can provide their necessary extra security protection mechanism following this public safety customers requirement. For here we wanted to review about the introduction about the security mechanism. First of all, realized by 3GPP's framework. When a terminal registers to LTE network, so the LTE network itself already provides quite deep security protections like the bilateral authentication and the authorizations and the encryption on both signal and the service data traffic. And also LTE network itself provide very deep data integrity protections. So this is the mechanism already being provided by LTE networks. And when the introduction of the MCS platforms on top of LTE networks, MCS system is also providing it's on the service level, provide a very deep, very comprehensive security protections to defined by 3GPP's framework for the user, like the service and user authentication and authorizations, and also the encryption and protection also being supported by 3GPP framework through the different kind of algorithms for both signaling and media encryptions. So this is the framework which already been defined, has been widely used in most LTE networks by 3GPP framework. And on top of that, to mitigate the concerns of the some of the country's public safety customers that they need have their own encryption protections. So we are able to, we also providing this third level end-to-end encryption features. So this feature is introduced on top of the LT and MCS protection framework and introduced by Hytera solution. And we are able to provide these end-to-end encryptions not only by our own proprietary protection or encryption algorithm. We are also very flexible on the customer on hand encryption algorithms in case that they have their own encryption algorithms. And we are able to to make the necessary adaptations for their algorithms to ensure that they are using their own protection mechanisms for their security communications. So this is the point also can distinguish Hytera's solutions, out of the other MCS solution providers on the market. And the next point we wanted to highlight is the ecosystems, is the terminals, which from Hytera. So as our partners, we have already know very deep understanding about Hytera's terminals. So we are providing different types of the terminals as we just reviewed in the beginning page of this chapter, that to meet different types of the business different types of the business scenarios, operation scenarios. And another point we wanted to ensure that our terminals is also based on open Android software operating systems. Therefore, it means that we can provide the necessary adaptation works in case that customers is introducing the other data applications. Terminals is as a very important asset for the most of the public sector organizations. The mobile device management platform is an essential tool for most of the customers who have their own, organization terminal asset. So through the MDM platforms, we are able to provide a very deep management functions like the remote control, remote erase the data in case that the terminal is lost, and to ensure that the terminal operating environment is strictly controlled without any breaking risks from the unallowed applications attack. So through the applications whitelist and blacklist control, ensure that there's no any not allowed applications being installed on the terminal. So this is the platform to control, to manage the terminals, which also being it's an essential tools to under our overall integrated MCS solutions. This page we want to align, we want to share about our performance, for system performance for the MCS solutions. I wanted to highlight one point here, that our MCS architecture is designed on a mainstream IT architecture. We call it as microservice architecture. This is nowadays very popular service software architecture, suitable for the cloud environment deployment, and also can provide different types of the scalabilities for following different types of traffic data. So in case that the traffic is increasing significantly, the expanding and the flexibility of the whole solutions is very important under this challenging traffic data increasing environment scenarios. For each server, for each virtual machine, for each server's capability, here is a list of the specifications and concurrent performance indicators which we can provide through one server. And in case that the traffic data or the project data is much higher than this, we just need simply put more servers to overlay more servers on top of each other and provide to increase the concurrent capabilities. This page is a network diagram when we're talking about the deployment of the MCS solutions. And this is a page where we're gonna dig deeper in case that we have quite concrete project opportunities. But I'm putting this page here in any way. We wanted to highlight again that the design target of MCS solutions is to provide prioritized communication access to the business critical or mission critical customers. And therefore, the key word for MCS is always prioritized, priority, service concurrency, and QoS. And the realization of this prioritized service access is on LTE networks. It's through the public telecom operators LTE networks, and therefore the cooperation with the LTE networks, the cooperation with telecom operators is essential for MCS project. And this is the reason why we encourage our partners that we need have a very wide cooperation and discussion with telecom operators to ensure that when we're talking about the concrete MCS project, their LTE network is ready for the interconnections. It's ready to cooperate with us to provide this prioritized and to provide this service QoS guaranteed mission critical services. After all, the realization of this service guarantee and this priority access is realized on the LTE networks. We need LTE networks supportive on these realizations. So this is the point we must keep in mind. And the third chapter we want to share is about the marketing strategies, about the business cooperation mode. How we want to share our position from Hytera headquarters, our position about the project business mode, that for the MCS project, how we can proceed. As we just highlighted that different with our other product, different with our legacy digital trunking product selling on the local market, even different with the commercial POC solutions. For the MCS project, we have to cooperate with the mobile network operators, and therefore, in our business model, we have 3 rules to discuss: the mobile network operators, the end customers, and our Hytera partners, Hytera and our partners. So we need to balance the 3 rules to ensure that we can find a triple win-win solutions through the 3 rules. And the message we wanted to transfer here is that from Hytera position, we are very flexible. And it's flexible is reflecting not only on the commercial items, not only on the deployment and on the network deployment, network maintenance, also on the whole, even for the commercial items, they can all be flexible. So from end user end user point of view, they can use their budget to benefit the to enjoy the MCS services from their capex budget or even OPEX budget in case that they don't have a big capex budget for the service introduction. And they can buy the services from the telecom operators, including the terminals, or they can buy the terminals by themselves and rent the services from telecom operators. And through the cooperation, when we're talking about the cooperation between Hytera and the telecom operators, it's also very flexible. For the start of the project, there's one principle we wanted to mention here is that we don't want bring a very financial cost for the telecom operators, and therefore we are quite flexible for the start of the project cooperation. We can start with a very limited user quantity of the project, and the project deployment, the platform itself. We can even be free of charge for the starting of the project. So we wanted to ensure that for the telecom operators, when they introduce MCS solution, when they started the introduction of the platform, they don't have any extra financial cost as well. So we will work together with them when they deploy more and more business customers under the platform. Then we will benefit together with them. We will both benefit from the business improving. And from our platform, from Hytera or our partners, from our position, we see that the big opportunity is not on the platform setting, it's on the terminals, it's on the license. So we would encourage our partners to start the trial, start the test with the telecom operators free of charge, and we can provide we are able to provide the test license for the MCS platforms free of charge, to encourage customers that to use the platforms for their business, for their industrial business marketing explore. And about the terminals, this is also a topic that we cannot skip. For the terminals, the purchasing body of the terminals can be end users or can be telecom operators. It's also very flexible. We have cases, we have project cases that telecom operators, when they find concrete project opportunities, they buy the terminals and then they sell the terminals to the end users. We also see project opportunities that customers, end users, they buy the terminals by themselves, and they just buy the MCS services from telecom operators. So at the bottom of the line, everything is possible. So it's all discussable, and we don't want to through any investment cost at the beginning of the cooperation to any parties. We wanted to ensure that telecom operators, they have very little pressure, they have no pressure to start the cooperation with us. And we also wanted to ensure that the end users have no any financial pressure to start trial this process services, and to start test these services. And we will start our we will have our business income, we will have our revenue income only after the end user is really benefiting, is utilizing, is benefiting from these services. It's really embracing these services. Only after that we are able to receive our business promotions and our revenue promotions. So this is a message we wanted to share with our partners. So don't have any big to ensure that we have no any pressures, or we have no any investment cost pressures on the promotions on the marketing explore for the MCS solutions. Well, this is today. I think this is the content we wanted to share with our partners today. And there is at the starting page, there is my contact. And my email address here. So in case we have any further questions, except for that, besides that, you can ask here on this meeting. We have our technical expert is answering the questions. We can also you can also directly send me any solution or business cooperation, business opportunity questions. We will reply and clarify any concerned questions, in real time once we receive it. Okay.